good. Rosa Parks and Gandhi are my heroes. I think it was Abraham Lincoln that said, if you want to get rid of a dumb law, enforce it strictly. People will revolt and get pissed. Every law out there has an axiom. Don't be a douche, don't be a dick. There's not going to be swearing in this video, so for those with light ears, don't worry about it. I did just say D-I-C-K, it's not my biggest sin. But I'm going to walk to the park. I'm going to take a piss on the grass. No one's around. This video is from the past. If you want to throw me in jail for pissing in public 10 years ago, I already prophesied of that. So I must be a pretty dangerous dude. I'm dangerous towards the kingdom of darkness. They don't like me. And you can throw anyone in jail for any reason at any time. The laws are written in such a way that make it possible. This guy was making fun of my girlfriend because she was ugly. I looked at his channel and he had no videos. He had no comments, no likes, nothing. Just a random guy on the internet. I didn't rebuke him, I didn't block him, I didn't delete his comments. I just said, there it is. Okay. Like, who gives a shit? I said there was no swearing, but who gives a fuck? Some guy on the internet. Next thing you know, she's like terrorized and she's like, I'm not wearing makeup anymore. I just, some random dude on the internet. It's just like, you should know who gives a fuck. Like, I'm pouring out my heart for her real name, real videos, pretty much real love. And it's like, I can't get her out of my mind. Her name is Brittany. I love her. I didn't know she was 5'1", a little short for me. I like taller girls, even if they're taller than me. Although I prefer probably 1 inch less than me. But I like taller girls. I'd date a 7'1" girl. She's probably good at basketball. It's like, we could talk about basketball, get her in the WNBA maybe. Have big kids. Like, there's pros and cons, and who gives a fuck? Okay, swearing's turned on, fuck it. Swearing's turned on now. It's not that I lack self-control, it's just, I like saying it. Those swear words, I like them this time. I want to talk about abortion, so it's going to be a nasty video anyway. Abortion's pretty nasty. Pro-life is nasty, but it's not as nasty as pro-choice. Pro-choice is this idea that women aren't allowed to wear seatbelts. Women are not allowed to not wear seatbelts, but they are allowed to murder that guy's distant relative in her womb, or her husband's baby, or her boyfriend's baby, or her dad's grandbaby in their worldview. But she's not allowed to drive without a seatbelt on. When she's alone in the car, it doesn't make any sense. It's very hypocritical. There's a blank and a speck and a mote and a beam. When Jesus says, judge not lest you be judged, the measure that you use will be used against you. He was talking about a very specific kind of unrighteous judgment called hypocritical judgment. The Pharisees in context were very hypocritical and wicked because they were guilty of the sin that they were calling out other people. Jesus could see the heart. He had more access to knowledge and information. And it's the middle of chapter 7 of the book of Matthew. And it's the most quoted verse of all time because it's very easy to take out of context to apply to all judgment. Because judgment is almost always very uncomfortable for somebody. Judgment is good as a general rule, but if it's unrighteous, it's cringe or worse, wicked. So, and there's also the higher law if you want to go in LDS direction. Dieter F. Uchtdorf, David A. Bednar, and Henry B. Eyring walked into a room of a man with his hand in the cookie jar. This is a euphemism for pornography, but let's just say it's a little kid with his hand in the cookie jar. Uchtdorf takes the lower law and he says, I ain't judging. Bednar takes the higher law and says, repent of sins. And Eyring takes the highest law and says, I'm praying for you. The point of the story is there's good, better, best. And Uchtdorf is not on the level of Bednar, and Bednar is not on the level of Henry B. Eyring. All of them are right, but Uchtdorf, I call him Goofdork because he's completely off on the not judging thing. He gave a sermon based on a bumper sticker that's based on a doctrine of demons, and he weaved it into his talk like it made sense to him. It doesn't make sense to me. You could argue I'm on another level, but sometimes you don't even need to argue that. Not to be proudful and boastful, but there are doctrines in our church that are imperfect, and I hope that talk was taken down. But here I am judging him for not judging. He's the highest, one of the highest positions in the church in the role of an apostle. He has one of the best voices, if not the best. I think the best voice. Very soothing. He gave a talk on the fourth fruit of the Spirit that I thought was fantastic. I don't think anyone needs the talk, but it's better than nothing, and I mean a lot better than nothing. The fourth fruit of the Spirit is fantastic. I just think it probably should be a YouTube video and not a general conference talk, because only 5% of the church can really benefit from fourth fruit of the Spirit mechanics. But I want to talk about abortion, and I want to steel man the pro-choice position first and then tear it to shreds. And I also want to straw man the pro-life position and then defend it. First of all, pro-choice, let's try to defend it and steel man meaning make the position as strong as possible. A woman should have the right to choose what to do with her body. If she's stupid and she's naive, if a woman doesn't know it's a baby in there, and those women exist, they think it's a clump of cells, they think it's a virus, they think it's a demon. There are women who identify as dragons, so they think it's a baby dragon. There should not be laws against killing baby dragons. She had sex with the intention of extracting as much demonic pleasure as she could. She got an orgasm. The guy left it in there, or he jizzed on her pussy. Whatever the thing was, she had really hot sex, ended up losing in baby roulette, got pregnant. She doesn't know it's a baby. So that would be the strongest position for abortion. There's something inside of me that I don't want inside of me. It's feasting on my flesh, taking my resources as I eat food. My uterus is growing every day, and cancer is bad, but this pregnancy is worse. If I can go to a clinic, I can get a man who is 10 times more wicked than me to go under a knife to kill what he probably knows is a baby, and to fish the baby dragon out of me. This would be the strongest case for abortion. A woman has bodily autonomy over the clump of cells in her uterus. What else? In a land of anarchy, freedom is on the throne, and Democrats are often very pro-choice and pro-freedom. Image bearers of God have great power, and they should be able to decide what they do with their bodies. If somebody wants to chop off or pluck out their eye, because the Bible says so, they should be allowed to. If they can pluck out their eye, which is a clump of cells, they should be able to pluck out a baby, which is a clump of cells. I know that some of these arguments have never been heard before, but when you want to dismantle an argument, it's okay sometimes to feed the other side and make them even more powerful before you crush them. So if it is a baby and they know that, now they're killing a baby. The question is, should it have equal protection under the law? Somebody who's pro-choice will say the baby is so small that it hasn't fully grasped the fullness of the image bearer of God status. There's a difference between a baby 10 minutes out of the womb and 7 hours inside of the womb. Once they leave the vaginal canal and they start breathing oxygen outside of the mother, they are increased in being, and this should make them more valuable. When the baby is in the womb, it is slightly less valuable, and the protection of the law should only protect babies that are feasting on the oxygen of the land on their own a little bit, even if you haven't cut the cord yet. This would be another very powerful argument for abortion. The baby is greater in being outside of the vaginal canal than inside of the vaginal canal. So any other pro-choice arguments, you can stack those on top, purify them, make them more strong. Also, there's a convenience argument. Image bearers of God should have the right to extreme convenience. In America, where we are flooded with pleasure and convenience, a woman who has casual sex understands that raising a child is extremely difficult, and she should be allowed to terminate image bearers of God if the level of convenience is high enough. Of course, the problem with this argument is that you could just donate the baby, but it's still inconvenient carrying a baby. It's still inconvenient having your stomach get really big. It's inconvenient going to church, everyone judging you for fornication, which you're obviously going through since you're not married, which is very inconvenient, bad for a person's brand and stuff like that. There's reasons to be pro-choice, to give women a right to quote-unquote murder a baby in the womb. These are not small reasons. These are very, very large reasons. And I could spend another 2 or 3 hours powerfully defending the pro-choice position, but now I would like to straw man. Well, I actually don't have any straw man arguments for the pro-life position right now, so how long was that? 12 minutes. That's pretty good. By the way, I'm not buying any of this. I'm pro-life, and I'm an abolitionist. I don't think, the only time I think abortion is a thing is in ectopic pregnancies where it's asymmetric net positive. I think play stupid games, win stupid prizes, or play silly games, win silly prizes. You can donate the baby. It's pretty extreme to value convenience and freedom, which in a land of, and we're not in a land of anarchy. If we were in anarchy and there was no rules, period, and then somebody said, well, let's make a law against abortion. The problem with that is, if you make a law against abortion, now you can open up the door to laws for all sorts of things. Like what? Now I can't sports bet. Now I can't drive without a seatbelt on. We don't live in a land of anarchy, so you can't make that argument. It's just a very selective, strange argument for abortion that all of a sudden we care about freedom. No, we don't. We've never cared about freedom. The freedom of speech should have no limits, almost, and it has very strict limits. You can't even go into a movie theater and yell fire as a joke. So that specific joke has been banned. I don't know if somebody did it and then it got banned, but no one thinks it's funny. I think it's funny, but it doesn't work anymore. So you can get in trouble for that language. So our freedom of speech has limits. So of course, the pro-choice position is a bunch of nonsense. If you have laws that are stupid, limiting people's freedom, this law limiting freedom, the freedom argument doesn't work because we don't have freedom in this country. We have quasi freedom. We have some freedoms, but freedom has limits. You can't legally get into a car. Like right now, I said I was going to take a piss. So let's do this. So this right here is illegal. So the government's trying to say I can't take a piss right here. I'm going to do it anyway because I have the freedom of choice and I want to make a point. My point is I'll do whatever I want. That's the stupid joke there. Come on. Okay, now I don't feel like taking a piss, so I'm not going to. It's not running out of my dick. I need to drink some more water. So let's go back home, get some more water. That way I can come back out here and take a piss. Dr. Pepper is what I'm going to drink. I give out free advertisements. I don't accept bribes. I don't want money. I don't need your money. Donald Trump did it without money. He has blood money in other ways. He had a small loan of $1 million from his dad. The tax on that is he had to tell people, which hurt his reputation because he technically didn't build it all from nothing. He started with a lot of money, but he built an empire. It's a lot easier to build it from $1 million than from zero. 0 to $1 million takes about a generation. But $1 million to $1 billion, it requires a lot of luck, a lot of, cutting some square circles, bankrupting companies and making it out alive yourself. A lot of stuff that he did. A lot of wicked people on earth, a lot of evil and sin makes me faint. I've never seen an abortion, but if I did, I would faint, almost certainly. I saw a movie called Schindler's List, which was a acting and a depiction of Adolf Hitler and what he did in Germany. And the next thing you know, I'm in the hall fainting. They put me on a wheelchair and they took me to, and I'm not making this up. I've never seen such evil. And I like the way that Hitler preaches. I just don't like what he's saying and what he's doing. I like how loud he's yelling. That's about it. But there's millions of people who could yell that loud. It's just, you gotta rile them up. Hitler didn't think he should have went to jail. And he said it's the Jews' fault. He picked up Jewish demons and self-hate demons. I think he was Jewish himself. So he wanted to kill all the Jews, and when he was done doing it, he put a bullet in his own head. There's a religion on earth called the World Mission Church Society. I have no stock in that church. I think the church is false. I think it's wrong. But they do have a belief that all of us are reincarnated demons. And I can see where they're coming from because there are some wicked people on earth. But I looked them in the eyes and I said, I'm not. Oh, you're not? Okay. Yeah, just because your religion believes something doesn't mean I believe that. Just so it's always like, I said, both of you are fallen angels? He said, yeah. I said, okay, well, I'm not. He says, oh, you're not? Okay. I was like, yeah, so that's how faith works. So you guys are applying your faith towards your belief, and I'm applying mine towards mine. Okay, I have a different religion, pre-existence, and we're clean as babies. That's my religion. So do you guys want to come back next week? They didn't. They believe in a strict Sabbath day. They stay in a building for 12 hours. 7 years in, they tell, oh, Heavenly Mother's on earth. I want to go to Korea. They go there and meet her. That's the religion. How did I find out? Internet. I asked them, do you believe in Heavenly Mother? Yes. Is she on earth today? Maybe. Is she on earth today? Just say it. Yeah. Okay. So the internet was right. Like sometimes the internet is right. I was talking to these missionaries. They didn't know what to say to me. Where'd you get this information? That's what he said to me. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you the answer that you're going to want to hear. I'll just tell you the internet. That's where I got it. The internet is a vessel. It's not good or bad. It's both. I rarely say that. It's both. It is the manifestation of the imagination of man. You can go to porn, you can go to scriptures, polar opposites. And they're both one click away. Porno will take you to places that you never thought you would go in your mind, in your spirit. Scriptures will take you places that you never thought you'd go in your mind. It's just a matter of what you type in. And when I have children, I'm going to trust them with a smartphone. But if you guys want to watch porn, you got to do so very secretly, because I'm going to look through your phones every week. And I'm not just saying, oh, is he watching porn? I'm going to say, what false teacher is he digesting? Because some of my kids are... Now, if one of my kids is just obsessed with space videos, okay, I'll let you watch that. If someone's watching Joe Rogan, okay. I don't really care who the guest is. Joe Rogan purifies it through honesty and learning. So even if it's a nasty guest, I'll let you watch it. I don't want to be too controlling for certain kids. Now, if it's my daughter, I want to raise her more in the Gospels and chastity, and make sure she's, not only is she not watching bad things, but she is watching good things. Make sure she's not watching makeup tutorials or stupid stuff like that. So It's not just, are you avoiding the worst things on the internet? It's, you're better than this. Really? 27 hours of space videos? Really? And then my other son, really? Mark Driscoll again? So I think you can do better with your internet. But if my kids are getting 4.0 straight A's, I'm going to let them have more reign over what they can watch on the internet. And I'm also going to have a desktop on the family computer, and I'm going to encourage my kids to go on there. I'm going to make YouTube videos like this, and I'm going to have my daughter edit out the stuff that she thinks is stupid, that Generation B isn't going to like. Maybe the swearing that I had at the beginning of the video, she can edit that out. But really the reason why I wanted to edit my videos is to listen to me over and over again, speak about deep doctrines. I'm a desirist, I want to get married. If I have children, it could hurt my presidential run, or it could help it. I think the children take a lot out of you, but if I trust my wife with a boyfriend as I'm out there, I don't mind if, I don't mind if she has relationships with other men that I trust, that she can raise the kids with as I'm preaching and teaching behind political pulpits, running for president in 2032, 2036, 2040, 2044, 2048, 2052, 2056, and 2060. Every man written down in books in the last 200 years, pretty much all of them were savages, and there's a lot of ordinary men that hate that, but I'm going to do the best that I can with what I have, even if that means pissing people off, even if that means I'm fake evil on Facebook for a generation. I'm trying to prickle some leaves and to do the best I can with what I have and extract the deepest, darkest A++++++++++ pluses from God. And if I could choose to be in the quorum of the 15 or the quorum of the 7, as of today, probably quorum of the 7. My ego wants to be in the Q15. My ego wants the Melchizedek priesthood, but I don't have that yet. I can only imagine how prideful I could potentially be with the Melchizedek priesthood. But I have the Aaronic priesthood, which is the preparatory priesthood. I have never blessed the sacrament, but I have passed it. And I've done baptisms for the dead, which are very intense spiritual experiences. I do a lot of teaching and preaching and praying and loving, but I'm not much of a blesser. I've never done